Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today we're going to be talking about a journalist who apparently has severe PTSD from their time as a reporter. Here on the channel we cover journalism a decent amount, at least, because, well, journalists are pretty notorious as a career field for consistently making themselves the victims of situations, right? They'll do pretty much anything, right? They'll go through and whatever they do is untouchable. They do everything right. They treat everybody perfectly. Their job, you know, they don't ever mess up or do anything wrong, right? But then when they're called out for these types of things, or when people react to the things that they do, all of a sudden they back up and they cry harassment. How dare you actually challenge anything I say? How dare you call me out for how I behave towards other people, right? Unfortunately, it's become one of the biggest career fields for what I like to call professional victims. These are people who are unable to defend anything that they do. They can't actually have a conversation about any sort of criticism that they face. They can't sit down and, you know, realize that anything that they do is wrong in any way. So today we're going to be taking a look specifically at Taylor Lorenz, who is actually a very well-known tech contributor. At the surface level, you would think that Taylor writes about, you know, social media influencers and the ecosystem around that, right? You might use her as a good source to keep up with what's going on in the social media world, right? But if you actually know the long history of Taylor Lorenz, you know that she is a serial liar. She's manipulative. She's repeatedly twisted situations to try and gaslight people. And I use that term literally. She has tried to gaslight the public into thinking that she's done no wrong when there's just so much evidence to the contrary. She's destroyed the lives and reputations of a lot of the people that she's covered. She's written numerous hit pieces about multiple different creators, including Mr. Beast, which we're going to go into here in a minute. And she's even committed what I like to call light doxing, where she'll get the family members of, you know, Instagram influencers in this situation involved, dropping their full name, trying to expose them, and basically destroying the careers of people that way too. So to start all this off, we're going to take a look at a pretty recent clip of Taylor Lorenz. She was contributing to a piece that MSNBC was doing called 1 in 3 Women Under 35 Experience Online Harassment. And she had a pretty notorious mental breakdown right there on camera, live in front of everybody. So
I've had to remove every single social tie. I had severe PTSD from this. I contemplated suicide. It got really bad. You feel like any little piece of information that gets out on you will be used by the worst people on the internet to destroy your life. And it's so isolating.
And terrifying.
It's horrifying. I'm so sorry. It's overwhelming. It's really hard.
okay, so at first thought here, I want to say she's not entirely wrong, right? There are people online who they'll go through your old tweets, or they'll try and find things out about you in order to ruin your life, right? So what she's kind of referring to is, yeah, people going through your personal life, the things you've said in the past, trying to dig up things about you, maybe even using your personal information to harass you and your family members through doxing and things like that. She's not completely wrong. There are people online who they live to do this type of thing, right? They will go through everything to try and ruin you and everything you've ever built. The ironic part about it is Taylor Lorenz, the person crying about this, is literally the person doing this. So what Taylor Lorenz just described is something that I mean, most of us would consider cancel culture, right? I mean, that's a pretty good baseline definition of what it is. People trying to ruin your life, basically digging up old things about you and trying to use them against you. But yet, in multiple articles that she's written, this is literally what Taylor Lorenz has done to people as large as Mr. Beast and to Instagram stars as small in comparison, at least, to Girl With No Job, which was a pair of sisters running an Instagram account whose careers she literally ruined because of their, well, birth mother. I mean, that's the best way to put it. So first I want to go through the Mr. Beast situation, and keep in mind, I'm not even covering the entirety of this whole thing, right? Because Taylor Lorenz has lied so much, manipulated people so much, written so many hit pieces, and overall been the exact person that she's now crying about online so often that if I really sat down and went into detail about all of the times she's had controversies due to things like this, I would be making a 1 or 2 hour long video talking about this. It would legitimately be a commentary crusade. So let's go all the way back to late May 2018, okay? So it's been about 4 years almost since this happened, but Taylor, who at the time was writing for The Atlantic, put out a piece that was conveniently titled, "YouTube's biggest philanthropist has a history of homophobic comments. Mr. Beast has gone viral for giving away hundreds of thousands of dollars, but he has previously used slurs and made offensive jokes." You can already tell where this is going. Yes, of course, she dug up old tweets that Mr. Beast had put out years prior when he was still like 18 and used like 3 of them to make a hit piece on him, where instead of focusing on all of the good that has come from Mr. Beast's career, how he's fundamentally changed YouTube, made people so much money, given so much money out to people, and done so many charitable things, she instead focuses on some old tweets. What many people might not consider not so nice are the homophobic jokes Jimmy has made on his YouTube channel or his habit of calling people the F-slur on Twitter. Jimmy regularly uses the notion of being gay as a punchline and treats the word like a slur, hurling it at people or things he's attempting to diss. "Windows is gay," he tweeted, regarding his frustration using the operating system in December 2015. More recently, in December 2016, he responded to a tweet saying, "I don't have a printer, F-slur." Just this past December in 2017, he replied to another person on Twitter, "Shut the fuck up, F-slur." So he's said it 3 times on Twitter over the course of like 3 years, but apparently he just has this habit of calling people the F-slur so very often and using so many homophobic jokes. So the homophobic joke that he made apparently was that Windows is gay. I'm sorry, is there really anyone genuinely upset about this? Like, can we really level and be honest here? If you're gay and you're in my audience, right, I would really love to hear, comment below, do you really care that 7 years ago, Mr. Beast said Windows is gay on Twitter? Do you really care about that? Or that 6 or 5 years ago or whatever here, he said the F-slur on Twitter a couple times? The truth of the matter is, most people didn't care, and that's why this article got extreme amounts of backlash, because it's very clear what this is. It's a hit piece. There's no other way to put it. This is a fucking hit piece, and the way to really confirm it is to look at the rest of the article and see how it's written. So obviously this part here is inherently negative, and the overall tone of the article so far has been inherently negative. There's nothing really good that's come up out of this so far. So he explains this to his mother in a video from December where he gives his mom a check for $100,000. She rejects the check repeatedly before Jimmy jokes, "If I don't give it to you, I don't have a viral video." "So you're using me for views," she responds. "Yes, but you get money too, so we're both happy," he says. So the problem that I have with phrasing like this is it cuts literally all of the context really out of this. I mean, you hear what's said, but you don't hear the tone or the inflection or really any of these key and critical factors to determining the actual context of how this was said. Those are all gone. Those are completely taken out of the article. So I want to show you the actual context of the video because in my opinion, this little paragraph here describing it doesn't actually show the real context of what happened.
Promise You Quit is not giving you that.
Obviously, I know. But if I don't give it to you, I don't have a viral video.
So you're using me for views?
Yes. But you get money too, so we're both happy.
So you use me for views and I get to pay off my mortgage?
Mm-hmm. I think it works out pretty well.
What an entrepreneur.
Right.
Thank you, Asian sticker.
Yes, this is... His name's Eric now.
Eric.
We're being socially sensitive.
Okay. Thank you, Quid.
Yes.
Thank you. Everybody, please download Quid.
As you can see, it was all said jokingly. They were laughing while everything happened. It was very clear that, you know, while of course he wouldn't really have a viral video without giving the money away, he was trying to genuinely do something very nice, and he was trying to help his mom out, who, as he said in the beginning of the video, raised him pretty much alone, and did her best to raise them over all this time, and he thought she deserved some money. But of course, you know, the fact that everyone was laughing and playing along and everything, that was never actually included in the video because, well, if you include that in the video, it makes it sound a lot more lighthearted and it doesn't sound as harsh. And this isn't even the first time that Taylor here has written a slanderous piece about Mr. Beast where she's tried to cancel him for the most ridiculous fucking thing possible. She then recently, in comparison to the last article, wrote another article about Mr. Beast in May of 2021 where she basically goes against him because of all of the business ventures that Mr. Beast has made and his willingness to become the Elon Musk of YouTube, quote unquote. So Elon Musk is one of the largest role models in the world for a lot of people. He runs Tesla, he runs SpaceX, he recently just bought about 10% of Twitter. He's one of the richest people on the planet. He's somewhat relatable because he memes on Twitter and does stuff like that. A lot of people look up to Elon Musk. Of course, a lot of people hate him too, but a lot of people want to be like him because he's, let's be honest, extremely good at business. He makes a lot of money and people want to be rich. So he's just kind of like an idol to a lot of people. Mr. Beast is in the business of running running a business, okay? He runs Mr. Beast Burger and all these different things. But of course, him doing that basically called for an article to be written, once again being very inherently negative against him and shitting on him. Mr. Beast is one of those creators who is an incredibly savvy entrepreneur, says Wayne Hugh, a partner at Signal Fire. He's got a fantastic content strategy, but at the same time, he's equally innovative and prolific in the experiments he's running to monetize the audience. Yet Mr. Donaldson's rise as a creator entrepreneur, like that of many YouTuber of his ilk, has been far from smooth. His early videos and posts were criticized for their use of slurs and offensive jokes. Several former employees said the working conditions at his companies. Mr. Donaldson has set up a variety of corporate entities, including Mr. Beast YouTube, Mr. Beast Crypto, and Rubber Duck Company, have been rife with favoritism and bullying. Alright, so of course, once again, bringing up that in the past he, used slurs and made offensive jokes. Keep in mind, the reference that they're using is the same article that we just went over. These are not fresh slurs or comments that he made at any other point. It's the same 3 tweets that we've already talked about that, honestly, most people don't really have a problem with. And one of, at least, these former employees that they're referring to is Soar Turner, who, if you remember way back in the day here on the channel, we covered and actually interviewed in a way about his time with Mr. Beast, had a lot of very contrasting different pieces of evidence that showed that maybe there was some lying going on with that. Now, keep in mind, I have not gone through any of the other employees' stories or statements or whatever that's being referred to here. I couldn't even if I wanted to, according to this article, because literally nothing is linked. So you just have to take Taylor Lorenz's word for it, because that's what a good journalist does. But in my opinion, this isn't even the worst of what Taylor here has done. The woman who has severe PTSD from her dealings on Twitter and dealing with the audience of cancel culture here, the audience that she caters to in the first place. I now want to bring up the story of Girl with No Job, which was an Instagram page that was ran by 2 sisters with a quote-unquote Islamophobic mother. So the Oshri sisters are the people behind Girl with No Job, or at least they were. I don't really know the status of this page anymore. I didn't even know that they existed until I was researching this video. Essentially, there's 4 sisters in this group that run Instagram pages, and this was their livelihood, right? Kind of like how I run my YouTube channel, and it's my main source of income. That's how they were with their Instagram page. Well, for some reason, they came to, I guess, Taylor Lorenz's radar in a way. And so she started digging into this family history, and she found out that their mother was none other than Pamela Geller, who has a very nasty public reputation of being quote-unquote far/alt-right, anti-Muslim, a birther conspiracist about former President Barack Obama, and also is a genocide denier, denying the Bosnian, Albanian, and the Rohingya genocides across the world. So, to be honest with you, I don't know who Pamela Geller is. I only have really learned about who she is by, once again, researching this video. But in essence, these 4 girls who are the daughters, I should say, of Pamela Geller were not, I would say, publicly relating with their mom, right? Instead of showing any sort of affiliation or connection with their mother, they just declined to comment about her. They didn't really post pictures with her. Honestly, the right decision to make for someone who's trying to run a social media career. If my mom was like super anti-Muslim and like had a bunch of beliefs that I didn't align with, I wouldn't really be like pushing her out for public consumption on my pages. I mean, I don't really know what these girls were supposed to do. They have a mom that they don't agree with, and so they didn't publicly associate with her. And so Taylor, instead of just realizing that this is probably the right thing to do, if we're being honest, wrote a hit piece where she basically light doxed this family by associating them all together and releasing full names, which that information can be used to find phone numbers, home addresses, places of employment, social media pages that are private and things like that, right? In this massive hit piece that she wrote against these Instagram stars. Now keep in mind, in this, she doesn't really blame the mom for having shitty opinions. She more or less hyperfixates on the Instagram stars who aren't associating with their mom because of her beliefs. And she basically writes them off as, oh, they're hiding their mom. They're hiding these horrible beliefs. Can you believe what they would do? This led to sponsorships, and pretty much anyone with a business relationship with these girls, it basically led them to cut ties because, well, there's this massive hit piece tying up racism and Islamophobia and all types of things to these names. That killed the business relationship and destroyed the progress of this Instagram page. All because these girls didn't believe the things that their mom believed. Now also, I want to take it a step further here. I did a little research into Pamela Geller, and I found out that there's actually a pretty good reason as to why, beyond beyond just not agreeing with their mom's political beliefs, that these girls would not want to have their mom posted all over social media and have her public reputation and everything all like basically aligned with them. Because in 2015, a terrorist plot by a member of the Islamic State, or I should say a sympathizer of the Islamic State in Boston, Massachusetts, planned in June 2015 to behead Pamela Geller and literally fucking assassinate her for her political beliefs or her, well, Islamophobic beliefs. The FBI had been investigating the person who had been plotting this since late May of that year when they had bought 3 knives on Amazon, and investigation had been put on because this person had been communicating with ISIS and spreading ISIS propaganda online. So their mother was a legitimate target of terrorist groups, okay? And Taylor Lorenz said, nah, fuck it. And instead of maybe this woman not being murdered by fucking terrorists, let me write a hit piece. And let's keep in mind here, why did she write this? Was it really to expose these nasty beliefs that this woman had? No, because if that was the case, she would have left her children out of it. She would have written the article simply talking about the woman herself. She would not have destroyed the Instagram career of her daughters, who don't even believe these things, might I add, and then basically doxed this family. Okay, who were once again targets of ISIS sympathizers who were communicating with the terrorist group from within the United States. Taylor Lorenz has legitimately put people's lives in danger with her reporting, has legitimately put terrorist targets out there for clout and attention, but is now crying on MSNBC about being the victim of mean tweets. Now, I'm not defending Pamela Geller. She has some shitty fucking beliefs that I don't personally agree with, but I don't believe that the appropriate response for a journalist, quote unquote, who apparently has the best interests in mind for people, to write a hit piece destroying people's careers because of what family members believe, right? Imagine if your career was taken away because someone found out the racist shit that your uncle believes that he spouts off when he gets drunk at Thanksgiving every year, and they wrote a big fucking article about it, even if you don't believe it, and they destroyed your career. This woman has literally perpetuated cancel culture for years, has tried to destroy the reputations and lives of countless people, has lied and manipulated to her audience multiple times about even petty shit, but is crying about the same exact movement that she helps perpetuate. The jokes literally write themselves. So do I feel bad for Taylor Lorenz? Not really. Sure, people doxing her or acting outlandish or giving death threats or being ridiculous in any way, that is unacceptable, but for her to be crying because of some fucking Twitter thoughts or whatever here, it's just incredible considering everything that she's done in her career. Oh, but wait, actually she's publicly responded to that, so they also totally misrepresented what I was crying about, but that's TV, baby. I do not care what people think of me on Twitter. No, MSNBC did not misrepresent what you were crying about. You had the full time to tell what you needed to. You said you have severe PTSD from being a fucking cancel culture journalist, that it's caused you to contemplate suicide, and that as a result, you have cut all personal connections with your family on the internet because you don't want people to do to you what you do to other people for articles. You didn't want people to find all of the crazy shit you've said and done, which conveniently you delete your tweets all the time, so it's kind of hard to go back and look through your history. I wonder if that's intentional or not. And you had the opportunity to say what you needed to. This is a 30-second clip. You couldn't say, and keep in mind, this isn't because of Twitter. This is insert other reasons. No, of course not. You got to blame TV for the fact that you had the mental breakdown and you couldn't comprehend, the real problem and fucking formulate something to say based on it. When at the end of the day, you're complaining about the exact thing you do for a living. This would be like someone who works in an auto dealership crying and complaining because someone's trying to sell them a car. You're doing the same exact fucking thing you're crying about for a living, but that's okay, right, Taylor? I guess now we can expect in a couple years for the Optimus article to come out where she'll dig through my entire personal history and try and ruin my career because I dare speak out against her, right? Anyway, with that all being said, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel, follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at @SubToOptimus. Watch out for that severe PTSD though on my Twitter. It can definitely be there. So, and with that also being said, make sure to check out Shop Opti down below. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, talking about Taylor Lorenz and signing out.